Yo, it is another edition of the House Podcast. What kind of team is this, man? 23 hits today, 14 runs, 13-0 yesterday. A series split in Cincinnati, like a gross start to the season. But look, 6-10 is not, a death knell, and it doesn't help the Braves are 12-4. But how you doing, pal?
Well, that's a relative term. Yesterday.
Oh, you were not good. So let me just inside baseball. Jack and I are just texting about something. I don't remember what it was, and like total non sequitur. I think we're texting about the Allman Brothers. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're talking about a song, and literally it's a text about the song, and then Jack responds with, "You have no idea how depressed I am about the Phillies." Like out of nowhere. And I wrote back, I'm like, dude, I've done the podcast with you for 6 years and you're one of my best friends in the world. I know exactly how depressed you are about the Phillies. So yeah. And then today, all the runs, just keep them to confined games. I was listening in the car a bit on the way back early on, like when it first started, I got back like during the big first inning, and Fransky said that they were 7 for their last 50 with runners in scoring position.
Good.
And of course they get 5 hits with runners in scoring position in the first inning. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Well, and this is such it's more of an outlier game than anything, which is like the Marlins game against Alcantara, and today it's like that's going to kind of skew some of the offensive stats so far. But my biggest
29 runs in 2 games or whatever it is. Yeah, that'll do it.
Right. Yeah, that'll kind of screw things up. It is funny though, because of all the frustrations with the offense so far, they're putting up a ton of hits. Like,
oh my God, yes.
Not even just today. Like even in games they've lost, they're putting up a lot of hits. It's just they can't get them home, which is like the single most annoying thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I the one part that I am proud of, James, and I don't know if this is something I should be proud of. And I guess you and everyone out there can be the judge of this. And I believe I texted you this as well. That like they say parenthood changes you, right? And matures you. Me still, like I sat outside, I had a fire, and I listened to the Allman Brothers because I was just that down about an April 15th game against the Cincinnati Reds in April. There's a part of me that's like, it's good to see that you still have it, kid. But there's also a part of me
now that you're a dad, you haven't gone, soft, I guess.
Yeah, like I haven't lost who I truly am. The
edge is still there.
Yeah, and I think that's the important takeaway from the series so far.
I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy you're able to spin it into a positive in classic Fritz fashion. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, I don't know if everything's fine.
Oh my God, they're such a frustrating. I mean, again, like 29 runs in 2 games, and then the other games, it's like, cutting teeth to get a guy home, first and third, no outs. Nope. Like runner on second to start the inning. Nope. But then they have these games where it's just they can't stop getting hits when runners are on base. And to your point, like the lineup has the numbers are good when like they start each game and they show the batting order and the I'm like, oh, like 300, 300 or 300 or 300 or 400 or like, what I mean? It's like it feels like the you're absolutely right. Like it's just a bunch of empty hits in a lot of games, and it's a frustrating stuff. I mean, 6-10 right now is frustrating, especially because you got to beat up on the Reds. This is it. All right, we're done with the Reds. And we split there. That was it. It's going to force this team to win games against better teams later in the season, and this team will get better and they'll coalesce and they'll be able to do that. But the margin for error shrinks when you lose games like 13-0 to Cincinnati and lose 2 in a row in a series.
Well, and the other thing that's annoying about the start of the season now is like you already start seeing the numbers like they got to go 82 and like 65 or whatever to get back to 80 or I guess it'd be 81 and 60 something to get back to 87 wins, which is like it's kind of a dark way to like I mean, it's like it's April, but also it's like, well, you have to. I mean, they do have to do that.
I mean, there's
And
6 games back of the Braves, and
I mean,
it's early, but I mean, it's way early, but it's 6 games. You know,
the Braves are nasty. Like it's okay.
I
I mean,
agree.
like
I agree.
they are a
A
really freaking
machine.
good baseball
A
team
machine.
that has like unbelievable player development. They make great trades. Their stars are stars. Like the Braves are really good. You know, this is a Phillies Mets for second place, in my opinion. And you know, just the way that they've played so far, I'm waiting to find an identity. I'm waiting to see like who this team is. I'm waiting for them to get like any level of continuity to where like, okay, I can rely upon that. Like I think we can rely on a majority of the lineup. You know, I don't think the Stott thing's slowing down. I don't think we know Schwarber will heat up. Trey Turner,
Schwarber's heating up a bit already. Did you
yeah.
another Franzke stat? I think it was either he's had a walk in like 8 of 9 games or something like that. You know, he's you know, just saying. It's
Well,
something.
the freaking out about Schwarber every year I find so funny. It's like
I
he's the
know.
one guy. Like just relax. Like
How
deep
many
breath.
times do we have to do this? You know,
Yeah. You gotta drop him.
June's coming. All
Yeah.
right. June's coming. Honestly, he's actually had a better start to this season than a way better start than last season, you know, at least up to this point. And he's been starting to spray the ball around a little bit, you know, a couple doubles, you know, a little single here and there. Yeah. You know,
We're gonna we flirt with 250? Are we flirting with 250, Seltzer?
OBP getting back up in the 350, 360 range. Let's go.
Wow. I mean, him actually doing the OBP thing, you know, because last year, like, bad bit, in my opinion, by Kyle Schwarber.
Well, especially when they move him to the 3-hole, right? It's like, okay, now I'll be the OBP guy. Now they're not leading off anymore. Now I'll do that. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. No, my favorite part about a majority of Phillies when they go to leadoff spot is when they just forget how to be a leadoff hitter. It's a classic bit. It really is. It's a classic Phillies bit where they're like,
it's freaking hilarious. We love it, guys. Definitely keep doing it. Thank God for Bryce and Stott, the one guy.
Oh, dude, I just love him, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff to get into, and I tell you what, nothing is helping me cloud like the start of the season more than the 14-3 win today or whatever.
And more than Stotty leading it off with a home run to make it 16 straight games. Buddy.
DiMaggio, man. I hope he's ready. I hope he knows what's coming.
Well, we talked about this on the last pod, and I was like, you're crazy. It's never happening. We had a follow-up in our text chain with Elliot, where Elliot, of course, jumps in with, not that people should be DiMaggio, but there should be more long hit streaks. So I looked it up, and it actually astounded me. In the history of baseball, including a fair number in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, there have only been 37 different 30 or more game hitting streaks. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That shows how hard it is. Like, even 16 is freaking hard.
Yeah, but with the shift being out now, it just feels like the beginning of the season. There's already been a lot more like hitting streaks. Stott's on one right now. I think Bohm's at 12.
Bohm's at I think he's at 10.
10. Well, I thought he was at 10 yesterday, so maybe 11
maybe
today.
It's 11. Yeah, maybe it's 11.
I think, is it William Contreras, I believe, has a 13 game hitting streak. One of my breakout players in the NL, no big deal to me. But
Arise had one before he got hurt.
Well,
and
he's going to bat 400, so it doesn't really matter. Like, there's so many records that are being broken this year. I think Bonds is probably safe with 72 home runs, but
73, you mean?
73, whatever. Doesn't matter. Who cares? They're just numbers. I messed up the 56 game hit streak on WIP.
Yeah,
so
that was way worse.
Well, you know what's funny is that, in my defense, I had 73
in
my head, and then I was like, wait, I think it was 72 last second. So that's on you.
That's me. Yes, you're right. I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame.
But we talk about stuff we can trust in this team, right, James? And I think Thompson's been annoying to begin the year, but I do think that when he gets into a rhythm and like figures out this ball club, I think like he's gonna be fine. Like, I'm not in this whole like panic, we got to fire Rob Thompson mindset.
God, I hope no one's there yet. Jeez, that would be aggressive.
Of course, people are there.
Oh my God.
But it's fine. Whatever. People are allowed to react. It's fine.
I definitely have heard a alarming number of Girardi comparisons already. I'll say that.
Yeah, which is, let's calm down. But either way, you talk about things you can rely on in this team. And, I think we can rely on the young 3 kids kind of breaking out. Schwarber, we can rely on. Castellanos, I think 70% can rely on. Like I would like a
Look,
home run mixed in every once in a while.
Maybe one. I think we can rely on Castellanos not being a black hole in the lineup.
Yes.
So that's that's a real win.
But at least until Harper comes back, the first 6 in the lineup should be pretty good, and then we'll see what we get out of Cave. You see what you get out of Sosa, who I think has been fine.
I think he's been pretty good. Yeah, I think he's actually been pretty good. And honestly, I mean, Cave has not been good, but Cave has been okay. For Cave should not be starting on most teams.
That's just trying to win
it's like trying to win a World Series. But I think he's been, slightly less exposed than I expected.
I will say the one thing about Jake Cave, James, and let me know if you think this is a big comp. But when he does hit the baseball hard, little Freddie Freeman. Like it's pretty much the same thing as Freddie Freeman.
I actually can see that, like just from a visual thing. Yeah, and when he hits it hard, he can hit it hard. Yeah.
Listen, don't let Cave.
Look at us talking ourselves into Jake Cave. I like him more than I like JT right now. I know he hit that homer today, but
JT's back. JT's on his way back.
Look, JT. We said it last, but we all remember the Toronto series, the dumb comments, the whole thing. Like that was in the middle of May or whatever. He was horrible until then, and then he was great the rest of the year. So again, we do this every year, and it's fun. And I mean, less fun. But we overreact to stuff early in the season, and it always happens. And we're always like, oh, let's remember not to do that again. And then we always do it. It's part of being a fan. But I think there are certain things that you can let's say react to, and there are others where you're like, he'll figure it out.
James, speaking of things to overreact to, I was thinking about this a lot as I'm watching more of my bullpen opinions blow up in my face.
It's not been a great start for you.
You have to promise me. You have to. Like, I cannot react to spring training next year. Like,
dude, what do you want me to do? How many times do I have to say it? Honestly, I bet you if you go back to our spring training pods, like every year for the last 4 years or 5 years, there are examples of me being like, don't listen to spring training stats. They don't mean anything. What are you doing? Don't overdo it. Like, trust me. When you play fantasy, this happens every year. Someone drafts the dude who has a great spring and he freaking sucks like all the time.
I can't do it. I've watched too many of these things just like, blow up in my face where it's like, I feel like I feel like a freaking idiot. I just feel so dumb. I feel so dumb when I see these bullpen guys where I'm like, this guy could be something. And then it just completely invalidates my opinion. And I can't have that, James. I can't have that on my conscience. It's just like I was watching McKinley Moore not be able to throw a strike yesterday. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Like I'm embarrassed for myself more than anything. And I feel bad for the fan base. I really do. Like it's official again. Hand up. Like I'm sorry. I will always react hard to spring training. I love it. I watch every game. I rewatch every game because I miss the Phillies so much at that point.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like I'm 100% sorry.
Yeah,
I can't. I can't.
Yeah, I think it's honestly just easier for people to know that you're gonna do it than for you to not do it, and just be like, all right, don't overreact to what Jack says about like bullpen guys in March. Because he's probably going to be wrong.
Well, it's okay because Ryan Kerkering is still nasty,
dude. Jack showed me that bat we were talking about last time. He's pretty nasty, dude.
Yeah, he's stupid. Yeah, I can't wait. So he's my last saving grace because Andrew Baker immediately when I was like, oh, he's great, he got lit up. So
I love that your last saving grace is a dude in Clearwater.
Well. For now. For now.
Yeah.
But I guess getting back to the overall point.
Yes.
Offense.
What that was. Yes. Offense. Yes, that was the overall point. As we
the overall point
was more in Junior
stuff we can rely on with this team, James. Stuff we can rely on.
Look at you. What a pro you are, buddy. It's the notes. You're taking notes now.
Well, listen, someone's got to react to every single game.
That's true. It's not like I did that for the last 6 years under a different name or anything.
When are you gonna understand? Nothing matters till I do it,
and
then I can relate to the people.
I know.
Wait till these bad stories start racking up.
Oh, buddy, trust me. I'm very, very ready for them. Yeah.
No. So you look at the offense and official statement. if Trey Turner doesn't hit a home run in the next 2 games, he's officially Trey Revere. And like I don't want to do that, right? Like I don't want to throw out the Ben Revere comps. But the fact that I've sunk no less than $100 into him hitting a home run,
Yeah, that's massive
and,
mistake
and
by you.
and just
You just
seeing
keep
him little slap hits. He broke 3 bats today and had 3 hits. Like
he's batting like 340 or whatever, 330 or something like that, right?
hit the ball in the ballpark. I need him to
320 somewhere up there.
Need him to dodge the World Baseball Classic claims. Where
What
it's like,
what is that? Like, what do you think that is? Like, again, I think that a lot of people might have, and I'm not saying you. I know you've kind of just gone into a dark hole that you can't get out of, and you keep just trying to bet your way out of it. But I think a lot of people probably expected more power than Trey Turner probably, that generally has. I mean, he's not a big time power guy. He's someone who's more likely to 20 than 30. That's for damn sure. So, I mean, he's a 20s guy, but not like a 30s guy. And I think a lot of people, especially coming off the World Baseball Classic, were expecting more. But how does he have these freaking bomb after bomb and these big spots in the World Baseball Classic, and then the season starts and he can't like muscle one out? Like, it's like, what's going on, buddy?
I know. But I did take, now in my defense, I took some games off betting him. So it's not just me.
No, it's not. It's true. It's true.
So we're doing our best here.
Yeah.
But then you move to the starting staff. And it's like, what can I rely on there? I think Wheeler's on his way back. Nola today, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if today was we're up by 10, just throw strikes and try to get out of the innings as fast as possible. But given the beginning of the season,
but these are the games where he normally just settles in and gives you like 7 shutout or something because there's no pressure on him and you got a big lead. He normally like handles those games. I feel like the big leads. That's anecdotal. I don't know that for sure, but it feels like normally when he's got a huge lead, he kind of settles in and just pitches. I thought he looked super meh today. And maybe I hope it's what you're saying, but I was not impressed with Aaron Nola today.
No. And it's hard.
In this lineup, especially against this lineup. I mean, what are we doing here? Again, like Indy is the only dude I know coming into the season, essentially.
It is annoying how much I know about the Cincinnati Reds right now. Like I am so consumed by watching Cincinnati Reds baseball. By the way, like not the best product to watch. Although like Steer's a pretty decent little player. I've always loved Jonathan India.
Friedel, like all these
Friedel's so annoying.
Yeah, guys, like who are you? Stuart
fact,
Fairbanks or Child, or is it Child? Yeah, Child.
Stuart Fairchild.
That's it. Again, I had never heard of the guy. I was like, he's batting third? What is happening?
The fact that I had to sit down and watch Will Myers hit 2 home runs, and it was just like, this is insulting to me personally, and everyone out there that was watching. So yeah, like Nola, hopefully with the pitch clock, he continues to get used to it. I thought for a majority of the game he was. He didn't feel like he slowed down with runners on base, and hopefully he's continuing to get used to pitching, with that kind of new reality. But at the same time, like just it's just all kind of just looked like he was 89 at some points today. He was, his stuff was popping early in the game. And what's happened a lot this year is once he reaches the 4th, it's just like, it just kind of peters out a little bit. And you have to hope that there's a couple things at work here. Obviously still adjusting to the pitch clock, but you have to hope that, obviously pitching late into the season, like, did he get the normal amount of work that he usually would have heading into spring training? Whereas he took some extra time off to make sure that he was fully healthy heading into spring training rather than like geared up and ready to go. So what do you have to hope with Nola? And obviously the stuff is with that, whatever. But as it goes along, as he continues to build up, as he gets used to the pitch clock, like we see Nola getting onto a bit of a run. You're like, I am not in the camp that he's cooked. I'm not in the camp that it's over for Aaron Nola. I don't think we're getting a 4 ERA Aaron Nola year. I just think it's taking him a longer time to bounce back from the long run at the end of last year and the pitch clock. And I think we'll look up a month from now and he'll have, 2 quality starts and be doing a much better job.
I hope so. And look, if I had to bet on it, I would bet on that, outcome. But I mean, we've seen it here in Philly. I mean, Cole Hamels in 2009. We've seen examples of guys going really deep into a season, deeper than they ever have, and just kind of never being able to get it back the year after and then going back to what they were before. So I'm with you. I don't think Nola's looked that horrendous or that bad. And I think to your point, there are other mitigating factors than just the going deep into November. But I'm definitely leery of it. I'm definitely aware of the fact that it could just be a season where he never really has the same sharpness, the same stuff.
Yeah,
so that's concerning.
So Wheeler, Nola, obviously, like those guys have to get on a roll here if they're gonna turn this whole thing around. We get that. I thought Taijuan Walker. It was a new plan from Taijuan Walker. You ready to break this one down, James? You ready to?
Oh, buddy, that's why we're here, buddy. That's why we're here. So
remember how I talked about last podcast? I thought the plan was stupid for him. Like, just didn't make any sense with his repertoire. So what they did this start, by my naked eye, was a lot more four seamers up. So the adjustment was, let's not have the four seamer down. Let's put four seamer up. And when you go four seamer up, a slider off that is way better. A splitter off that, because if you can start, let's say, if you can start a fastball in the middle toward up of the zone, and then tunnel a pitch off of that, especially a slider and especially a splitter, you have a pitch in the hitter's eye that is the same spot that is moving three different directions. So four seamer up, splitter down, slider down, away. It's just it makes sense. That is a plan of attack to hitters that makes a lot of sense. And I felt like, even though it was the Reds, even though, it was still only 6 innings, I was glad that at that point, someone stepped up and took the baseball and said, I'm not going to let us kind of lose this game, which I think someone in the pitching staff needs to do besides Jose Alvarado. It feels like every day it's like Jose Alvarado is striking out every single batter. I mean, 16 strikeouts and 6 1/3 so far this year. It's stupid. But the thing that's frustrating me from a pitching standpoint, James, is I never feel like someone's like, give me the baseball and get it out of the way. And sometimes you need that stuff. So I thought Walker did a better job with that. And I hope that's kind of a plan that they can enact for a good little bit here.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed with Walker, and to your point, it was desperately needed in that spot after the back-to-back losses. And I feel mostly optimistic about Taijuan Walker, but again, like you said, it comes down to Nola and Wheeler and those guys. And I'm actually I think Wheeler's I'm significantly more optimistic about Wheeler than Nola. Where you at with Falter? I mean, Falter wasn't, it was a lot of seeing eye stuff, and it wasn't a horrendous outing. I thought he had moments, but it's also, people are freaking out. It's like, he's your fifth starter. It's 4 innings, 4 runs, 5 innings, 4 runs. That's not going to be a rarity. Bailey Falter's not going to give you a 6-2 that often. It's like, that's not going to be the norm. And that's why it's so important that the other guys are able to give you quality innings, and just innings period, as we've talked about, because Andrew Bellatti's arm might fall off at this point. I mean, I'm bringing him into that spot. And again, I would have kept Strom in there. It looked like he finally settled in a little bit after, I thought that was another Tauber mistake, and that allowed kind of the game to start to blow up. Then he kept Bellotti in after that. The core problem is these starters need to go deeper into games, and Bailey Falter can't be the one relied on for that.
Right, and that's been probably the biggest problem. Well, besides the runners scoring position, starters not going deep in games, and thus just completely. I believe Bellatti's been in 8 games so far.
It's unbelievable, dude.
Insane. I know he's
and he saw it, and he's looked good early, but you've seen it. He looked worn down in that game when he came in for Strom, and the results bore it out.
Well, and they're going to crush Alvarado. I mean, Alvarado, he's someone that I need down the stretch
in big spots when it matters. Yeah, no doubt.
We can't be using all the Alvarado innings in April. And it's one of those things that, again, someone besides Alvarado has to step up and do a job here. I think Soto's on his way back. I thought he looked really good the other night, but it's obviously an incredibly low leverage spot situation.
Yeah.
So I think he's on his way back. Kimbrel today, finally was able to locate some other pitches.
Another incredibly low leverage situation. Yes.
Well, listen, buddy. I can't.
I
The
know.
leverage
I
is the
know.
leverage.
I know. I know. I didn't even know the guy who came in the ninth, Ortiz. Who the hell's that
Luis
guy?
Ortiz, yeah,
Yeah,
another guy they claimed
I
off
didn't even know.
waivers.
I didn't even know who he was. I was like, oh, we guess we got that guy.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but I did think he had some stuff in spring training. So like, sorry. Well, yeah, sorry. I was like, kind of interesting. He was like, he's such a Giants reliever. Like he just had.
That I thought I've definitely recognized the name, but I had no idea he was a Philly.
Well, listen, if we want to talk about guys I was kind of high on in spring training, like Andrew Vasquez has been decent.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Listen, we take one. We get one.
Yeah.
I knew the slider was nasty.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can take that one yet. But you know.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. But yeah, like the rest of the bullpen, like they're just it's just brutal right now. And
I know.
I think that when Ranger comes back, it kind of settles down a little bit. Strom can take down 3 innings if he needs to. Like he's so stretched out right now that I mean, they'll probably piggyback Ranger and him for a little bit
to start. Ranger
gets going, and then maybe they'll piggyback him and Falter.
Sure.
But yeah, like I just hopefully when Ranger's back, that Strom can kind of go back there and settle things down, because at that point, if Strom can give you multi innings, Soto, I believe, can if they want to, but I probably wouldn't do it because I need him also to be healthy. You got to get Sir Anthony back on track because that's someone that you relied on. You can't kill Alvarado. He's going to be great, but you can't kill him. Kimbrel, you need to rely on the back of the baseball. Well, I don't know if you can say back to the baseball card, because the back of the baseball card's been kind of average for a while.
Look, last year I think he had a 3.75 ERA, and the underlying stats were a little worse than that, obviously. But you need him to pitch to that type of thing. You can't expect much better, but you need him to, look. You also need him not to be a guy you have to use in high leverage situations. Like obviously, it's going to be impossible not for him to come into some games that matter, but. I mean, he just can't be relied on in big spots. It just is what it is.
Just give me Brad Hansier last year. How about that, Craig?
Sure. Yeah.
Somehow pitched to a 3 ERA, even though it looked nowhere near.
It's like a 5 FIP or something. Yeah. But exactly. Yeah.
Just atrocious. So, it's been weird at the beginning of the year. But at the same time, like the Mets aren't playing great. The Cardinals are like
a disaster.
They're playing horrible. The Pirates like 9-6. Like it's early.
It's early.
It's just that Saturday was so crushing from the standpoint of like, does anyone want to be here? Like, does anyone feel like playing? Like they are the Reds. Like not sweeping them last series, losing 2 or 3 of the Marlins, and then having to split out in Cincinnati. It's just like, these are the times when we need to kind of right the ship here. They didn't do it. Like they didn't do it. And that's why it's like, yeah, it's early, but I don't know. I will say it does feel, I still feel more hope. I feel more positive they turn around than like doom and gloom, panic button, season's over kind of thing.
Look, in each spot where it's felt like it's spiraling, they've come out and had a big win. They had the Alcantara game. They felt like, oh God, what's going on here? We're sputtering. Boom, like crushed Alcantara. They lose the 3 straight, the 2 of the Marlins, the first one of the Reds. Boom, come out the Taijuan Walker game. They put up 8 runs. They lose 13-0. They come back today, bounce back. Maybe you just gotta hope that that they're maybe just not even getting up enough for some of these teams after the playoff run and facing the best. Then you're like, oh, the Marlins and the Reds, like we got this. Then it's like, oh crap, we don't got this. Let's go out and actually get it. And maybe we're seeing some of that. But yeah, I think that's the point. Like, look, I don't. No one should be panicking. No one should be freaking out. No one should be. Completely reevaluating what this team can be in their mind. But you can definitely, and we've talked about, I mean, I think the single, Jack and I would both agree, the runners in scoring position, like you just talked about, that's an issue, but we think water will find its level. The injuries are really the only thing that has like actually concerned us a significant amount. But in terms of the wins and losses, I think the reason it's been concerning is twofold. It's one, that it's 2 teams like the Reds and the Marlins, and then 2, it's like the way they've lost some of these games. I mean, to lose the 3 straight, 2 to the Marlins, including the losing an extra innings game at your house, and then going in and just getting, handled by the Reds in that game 1. Like that was just It was the first time they were down like 4-0, 5-0 in a game, and it was just like, oh, they're losing. You know what I mean? It was that, and that was frustrating. Early in the game, it was like, oh, they just don't have it tonight. They're not going to be in this game. And then, to come back and win that game and then get drubbed 13-0. It's the way they're losing these games. And like the ebb and flow of the season has just felt, not only disappointing from the start, but also it's felt like, they've been disappointing. That's the way it's felt.
They have, but also they haven't found their footing either. And I think that once they kind of get a little bit established here, and I think that as Turner gets more comfortable, as Schwarber settles in, as these young guys hopefully continue to progress, as Nola gets on his way back, as Wheeler continues to develop, Walker hopefully gets on a bit of a run here. You get Ranger back, hopefully all those guys give some length, and then some of the bullpen pieces can get settled into, their jobs and their roles. Like, of all, like, the injury things are the injury things, but they're sort of like, it's almost over. I mean, like, Ranger is throwing a bullpen tomorrow, I believe. He's facing live batters tomorrow, I believe, at least. And then, I mean, Bryce, like, Rod Thompson said he might not even take a rehab stint.
Unbelievable.
Like, what are we doing here?
Like, do you ever remember an injury in any sport? And I remember guys coming back early. I remember like Adrian Peterson particularly stands out when he came back from that ACL, like the first guy to come back in 9 months or whatever it was. But do you ever remember an injury where you keep getting updates along the line like until the comeback? And each update is like more unbelievable than the last. It's like Dombrowski, we're not going to put on the 60. Like, wow, that's amazing. Then it's like, oh yeah, he's like hitting off pitchers. It's like, what? I got a date for a return. It's like each thing. It's like, is he going to be back in a week? Like, what the hell's happening with this? It's unbelievable. The chronology of just like amazing update, better update. I can't believe it update. You know what I mean?
At this point, I don't think I'd be surprised if he's in the lineup next week. It just feels like it's all progressing towards like, oh yeah, Bryce is just back. He's here. Like, he's in the dugout again today. I think it was Friday night was the first time I noticed he didn't have the thing on his arm, the brace on his arm.
Look at you sleuthing that out.
No big deal. And then every single time I see him like just feeling ground, I'm like, oh, need him back.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just like, what if he's just in the lineup next week when they return? Like, it's just,
I know
it is like the swing. Every person that's around the team, they talk about his BP. It's like, yeah, he's hitting ones in the second deck. It's like, how? Yeah. Like, how is he doing
this? Just like doesn't seem real. I mean, it's surgery in like early December or something like that. I mean, what?
Well, thank you. If you didn't wait 2 weeks after,
I know, but it seems like implausible.
No, it seems inconceivable that he could be back this fast. Yeah. But everything's just like, yeah, he's just gonna be here. And man, when you talk about this, and we have to factor in he is bad for 2 weeks when he gets back from every injury.
Oh yeah, just get ready, prepare yourself mentally.
We get a 2-week buffer with Bryce. Is not gonna. I don't think he's gonna fix everything, but who knows? He just recovered from Tommy John in like 4 months, so whatever. But like, you add him to the lineup where now it feels like we finally have determined who the leadoff hitter is, which is great. Trey Turner or Trey Revere. We'll see which path he chooses. Does he want to be Trey Turner or does he want to be Ben Revere? I think that's pretty much a simple thing to boil this down to.
And it's perfect. It's just nailed it.
Is this strictly because I've lost a ton of money on him not hitting home runs? Yes, mostly. But then you go like, Stott, Turner, Harper, Bohm. I would like Bohm personally,
please.
But I know they won't. So it'll be Castellanos.
Yeah, but JT and Castellanos both should not be batting in front of Bohm, and both are whatever.
Right. Schwarber 5, and then it's just like, oh, here's JT
then
and
Bohm and JT, and it's
Marsh.
like, wow, buddy, and Marsh. Yeah, then Marsh is hitting 8th. I mean, that's then we're back.
Yeah, then it's like, oh, good to see you, Phil. It's
yeah,
like, glad to see you.
Hello.
And I tell you what, man. Speaking of Brandon Marsh, like, he's turning into one of my favorite players. Like, he's just
awesome.
He like the way he goes down, tracks down fly balls. It's like, but I haven't seen this since Victorino. Like it's a similar way he goes about it, where he's so like aggressive and just kind of flies the ball. It's like, oh, he's not gonna get there, and then he's there, and then at the plate, like it's he like the turnaround that he has done is actually more surprising than any of the hitters that we've seen break out this year, because like he was so feeble with the Angels, and like what Kevin Long has done with him and turning him into, like, he's roping balls off the wall, like with authority and inconsistency. It's not like just every day. It's not like every once a week he's smoking a ball. It seems like every day he's ripping balls off the wall. So, like, again, I feel like Girardi's fine. Wow, that's bad.
Wow.
That's bad.
That
I'm
was
sorry,
bad.
Rob. I'm
that
sorry,
was
Rob.
bad. Wow.
Wow, that's bad.
I'm the one who's tired too. I'm the one who's going to bed as soon as we're done pod, and you're the tough.
That is bad. But I feel like Thompson has finally gotten to the point where it's like, okay, we'll play him against lefties. Like, you win.
Thank
everyone
God.
wins.
Well, he got there with Stott too. He's everything we expected and wanted. It just took him a little while to get there.
Very proud of him.
I mean, especially when Pache is the friggin' option. It's like,
hold on,
come on. Let's make the decision quicker.
Pache is like, he's turning a corner.
Yeah.
At least start him in left field against lefties if you want to do that, and then at least you have elite defense in left.
I agree. It's very, very strong with you. All right, I have a random baseball thought / question for you at the end, but bag it up.
Okay. First off, massive they avoid Cease. Cease is pitching today. So he will not.
God.
They will not be.
He's so nasty.
He is stupid. So that's a good thing.
He's one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, of course of course.
But I'm pretty sure that they play the next, at least this series, and I think their next like 4 games are against righties, probables, and I just think the lineup when they face righties just makes so much more sense. Like, you can play Cave, even though that's not a great option. You can just play Marsh and not think about it. So I like that they're on a bit of a run of facing righties here. This is a problem that I have with the Phillies broadcast, and this is also like,
I love when you rip our media colleagues or whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's a facetious rip, but
okay, good.
I would just like official statement here. The season can't start until they pick a new Philly of the week. Like, back-to-back weeks, it's Bryce, and then it's NL champions, and it's like, we can't keep looking back at last year. It was amazing. I loved it. I was so down last night. I watched highlights again because I wanted to feel something. But like, back-to-back weeks of Philly of the week is last year.
Yeah, it should be Bryson, especially we got Bryson Stott. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? You could have Bohm 1 week, Stott the other. Boom. Done.
He's literally chasing DiMaggio right now.
Marsh. Yeah, he's on his way.
Listen, I told you, DiMaggio's in the hot seat.
Yep.
So, like, just pick someone else tomorrow. Okay? There's enough to go around. I
think it's a very valid take. And I as official high ups position, I co-sign.
Thank you. Yeah. I really hope the Sosa injury is not that serious. It doesn't seem like it is.
Well, yeah. What did they say that he could have pinch hit today theoretically if he was needed? Hopefully that's true.
Yes. Because I don't know about you, but everyday Josh Harrison or everyday
oh my God,
Cody Clemens does not sound like a world in which I would love to be in. Frankly,
100% with you. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how Edmundo Sosa is that much better than those guys. Yes.
Yeah. Josh Harrison, great guy.
Man. He looks old. Like, sometimes players get to a point where it's like, oh, you just look old. Like, it looks like it hurts you more to swing than that dude or whatever. Like, Josh Harrison looks like that. He looks like old out there.
I think he's one of 3 players, or no, he's not one of 3. The Phillies are one of 3 teams that have had to use a position player pitching twice. So things are
awesome,
going well early in the
year. Yep.
I'm sort of in on the thumb celebration.
Okay. Well, okay. Good. Just do your thing. Go ahead. That's really funny. Go ahead.
Well, as someone that is a big thumbs up guy,
it's your thing. Jack can't take a picture of that, but he has to sometimes like stick his hand in his pocket to keep himself from doing thumbs up.
It's like funny, they get on second base and they're like, I'm in on it. It's I thought the home run celebration for the Reds with putting like the Viking helmet on and nothing will top what the Pirates are doing this year. I mean, the Pirates are like doing a sword thing when they do it, and that's cool. I'm in on the thumbs up. I think the thumbs up is pretty good. I think I think it kind of fits this team because this team's like so laid back that like when they get on second, they're just like, I think it fits the personality of the baseball team.
So I love it. I'll save what I was going to say because it'll be a tease. The thumbs up when I said I have a random thought / question for you at the end, it has to do with the celebration. So we're going to get there, but I'm a fan of it as well.
And yeah, I think that's
so I could have just done it then. It would have been so much smoother if I just did it, if I knew you were done your take back. Okay.
I guess we got to work on, like
the coordination.
I'd give you like a sign, like, like
a little like,
I'm done. Exactly. It's over.
When I
go to the ear.
So
I'm at the ear.
All right. So here's the thing that this was my random thought / question for you was with the thumbs up, which I do love. And, it seems like, every team has a thing, right? When a guy gets to second base. I saw one team, they do like a flex, or one team does whatever, like Phillies are thumbs up this year. And it seems like every year each team has like their thing, right? Mm-hmm. The one that was very funny, it looked like the shake weight type thing. The one year that can't remember what that, but here's what like plagues me. And I wonder about consistency, Jack. Do like the teams coordinate so that, because what if two teams had the thumbs up? Like, what if another team, independent of the Phillies, was like, thumbs up, that's going to be our thing this year. And then it's like, oh, no, we're two teams, same thing. Like, do they coordinate? Because I haven't seen two teams do the same thing. I haven't seen that situation arise yet. I'm fascinated by this. I wonder if they have to, like, send it into the league and say, hey, this is what we're doing, so we can coordinate. I don't know. I'm wondering. Probably not.
Well, two thoughts off that.
Yes.
One, obviously I have no idea. But my second thought is, like, I want to know who the person is that decides, like, this is our thing this year.
Oh, I agree. I love it.
Who was the first
whole
person
process?
Like,
yeah.
And then now they got the gold thumb in
especially the teams where you see like the really weird ones where it's like some like really strange motion or some like weird like this type of thing or whatever. And it's like, how'd that happen? Like thumbs up, get it. Flex, sure, get it. Like how that weird thing you do with your hands, what the hell is that? Why is that your thing? I'm so weird. I'm so fascinated by all of it.
Well, it sounds like someone has to, get an answer, get to the bottom of it. Who was the first one that was like, what we're going to do this year? Yeah. Thumbs up. Seems like, and Adam in the comments is right. Like it feels Stubbsy. Like
it does feel Stubbsy. Where's Alex Coffey? I feel like the Alex Coffey's the one who needs
feels like an Alex Coffey story.
It does. I feel like she'd be all over it. Or any entrepreneurial listener, if you want to let us know. Because let me tell you, I want to know. I will not find out. I will not do the work nor the effort. As I said, I'm going to bed as soon as podcast.
We are a read and react podcast.
Yes,
that is what we are. Yes. We're not a forward thinking podcast.
No, we're gonna say it and hope something happens with it, or just forget about it. Podcast.
Yeah, like stuff has to be handed to us, is what we're saying.
Very, very, very clearly.
Although I do plan on willing the Joe DiMaggio thing into becoming a thing.
We're getting there, buddy. It's getting close. I mean, think about it. If Bryson Stott gets to 30, it'll be the 38th time in the history of baseball. How crazy is that?
It's great.
I know.
It's great.
I know.
It's good
when I should say when he gets to 30. I should say
correct.
That. Yeah,
that is a fair way to look at it.
Yeah. All right, you got anything else? Final thought? Anything like that?
Just like I want to think of something that could eat up at least 10 minutes to where you can't go to bed. If I could,
this is really.
If I could come up with one thing that could really just keep you, who's your go-to Philly that played for both the White Sox and the Phillies?
Jim Thome.
It's a good take. I was going to say
Thank
Rowan.
You. Thank you.
I was going to say Rowan. What about Freddie Garcia?
Thank you. Right here.
What about Tadahito Iguchi?
I won already. I got the best answer. That was pretty impressive by me.
It was. I mean, first base, Tony. Second base, Iguchi. Shortstop, I don't
know. We're done. Lance Parrish catching.
Oh, see, that's for the older crew.
I think he's a White Sox. I know he's a Tiger. I hope he's a White Sox too. I might have been wrong. I think he might have been an Angel and not a Tiger. Never mind.
I will
He
say
was
the
definitely a
White Sox,
Tiger, not a White Sox. I mean,
the White Sox for being in such a major city feel like the least impactful major city
yeah, I agree
like
with you.
franchise. Like they won in 05 and it's just like, oh yeah, the White Sox, they're there.
And it was the first time in like 90 years or whatever. It was like they had like practically just as long a streak as like the Cubs and Boston, but no one cared. All we ever talked about was the Cubs and Boston, but like no one gave a crap about the White Sox one. So.
Oh, and
a
as
great
our
point.
good pal Steve points out in the chat, Jimmy Rollins, a great White Sox.
Oh, an all-time White Sox. You're
All-time
right.
White
I think
Sox.
he's in the White Sox Hall of Fame.
Should be.
Well
Should
done.
be.
Well
Should
done.
be. Yeah.
Oh,
The White Sox just don't matter in
No.
the baseball history.
We need a sweep here, buddy. We need a sweep. I mean,
Well,
I'm
the
not
thing with
expecting one. We're always good with 2 or 3, but like, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be
Well, yeah,
nice? Wouldn't it
obviously.
be nice to have,
The funny part about the White Sox is that like they do have like legitimate talent. I
ton
mean,
of talent. Yeah, they just are like a piss poor franchise, but they have a ton of talent.
Figure it out.
I know.
I can't believe Kenny Williams is still a GM. Like they're just,
it's like a lifetime contract.
he's been there for like, I think he's the GM in like 05.
He might have been the 05 winning GM.
Like, holy cow.
I think he might have gone up to president though, because I think they had someone else there. Didn't they have like Rick Hahn at one point?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. So
I think Benintendi was their biggest free agent signing ever
in the history of the franchise. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that tells you all you need to know. It's just been good White Sox banter. Is this achieved your
purpose?
Listen,
I'm excited. I'm excited to see Gavin Sheets and Jake Berger. We'll see. White Sox.
You have a kid to go to now. Like I love hearing like you're taking up my time just for fun. But what about your kid? You don't want to go spend time with Walker?
I do.
Yeah.
And now but I think I hope he's still asleep. And I do plan on going and having some burgers on the grill.
Look at you.
It's a nice little Sunday night, man. And I can't wait to lose money in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
So this
a nice Sunday night, a thing that I used to have and no longer do. So
have a nice sleep, buddy.
I'm gonna go to bed. I'll see you. All right, we'll be back later in the week after the White Sox series. Until then, he's Fritz and Seltzer.